Welcome to Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors. Talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking just about anything you can do outdoors. Here on Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9 FM, and KWSN 1230 AM, 98.1 FM, both out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo 104.7 FM. Today's Gone Outdoors is brought to you by Ray's Sport and Marine, your local Lund Boats and Bennington Pontoon dealer in Moorhead. RaysMarineMoorhead.com. Adventure RV across from the fairgrounds in West Fargo, your number one RV dealer in the FM area. AdventureRVSales.com. Devil's Lake Tourism, looking for wide open spaces, amazing fishing, and a refreshing escape? Discover Devil's Lake, where adventure, relaxation, and North Dakota hospitality come together. Plan your stay today at devilslakend.com. Legacy Truck Gear, protecting your legacy and your equipment. Strand Ace Hardware, Barnesville, and downtown Pelican Rapids. Proudly family-owned for 70 years. And Onyx Fish Midwest, cast beyond the familiar. Eskimo ice fishing gear in the all-new Outbreak XDP shelters. GetEskimo.com. And it's great being back here in the Gone Outdoors studio. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Whatever you are doing and wherever you are, we appreciate you joining us for an hour of outdoor talk. As we said, hunting, fishing, and anything you can do outdoors. We always try to cover a lot of bases. Some days it's more hunting. Sometimes it's more fishing. It's just kind of whatever is in season, as we say. And speaking of seasons, Mr. Brewer, we're gaining a little bit of daylight this month, which is pretty exciting if you ask me.
Yeah, we certainly are. Believe it or not, we've already booked 1 week in February already today. Last month in January, we gained 55 minutes of daylight, which you could tell, because as you get off work, depending on what your work schedule is, of course, but you go outside at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it's still daylight. Through February, we're going to gain 75 minutes more. I mean, that's over another hour again, and this is just going to keep falling. And then we're in the March, and you know what March means.
Well, we start looking at the trees, see if we can tap for some maple syrup. Maybe not right away, but at some point.
Tapping trees, we're talking some of the best ice fishing of the year. And depending on where you're at, there might be some of the best open water fishing because some of the rivers might be starting to open up, and that's really good fishing. But I know I absolutely love March fishing, ice fishing, and I don't necessarily get as much time as I would like to do it out chasing panfish, chasing crappies, chasing sunnies on the lake. It's beautiful out usually. The fish are very active. And there's generally not as many people out there, which I'm not afraid of people, but it's nice not having to fight crowds. And the tulipies are biting, which is another nice bonus.
It sure is. Just so many fun things here. It's great to be digging into February already. And, the other fun thing is if you're still into the ice fishing gig, which you and I both are, the ice on the lakes is in really, really good shape. And we saw that in full display this past weekend when we had our Men on Ice event up in Cooperstown, well, actually Binford, North Dakota, at Red Willow Lake.
Yes, we did. And that lake, if you've never been up there, it's absolutely beautiful. It's not a huge lake. It's relatively small. But it reminds me, and I think I've mentioned this before on air, it really reminds me of a little Minnesota lake because it's surrounded by cabins, surrounded by trees, out in the middle of all the farm fields, and it has pretty much every species of fish that you would find in a Minnesota lake in it. It's got walleye, it's got northern, it's got smallmouth, or I don't know if it's got smallmouth or not, probably not, but it has crappies, it has bluegills, it has perch, it has all those fish that we go out and chase all winter long. And we caught a nice little mixture of all of them with our group last weekend.
Yeah, we did. We braved some adverse conditions.
We did.
The temperatures right away on Saturday morning when we headed onto the lake. I know my truck said anywhere from 6 to 8 below zero. and the weather app said we're going to see wind 20 plus miles an hour with close to 50-mile-an-hour gusts. And guess what? It didn't disappoint because it happened.
Yeah, it certainly did. And for those people that say you cannot fish in a pop-up hub house in super windy conditions, we proved them wrong. We did not lose a single house. We didn't have any of the sides cave in. If you set up those houses correctly, you can fish in pretty much any condition. And it was nice inside the houses, although it was blowing hard outside and it was cold and the snow was coming down. But inside those houses was a bunch of smiling faces and people having fun.
Yeah, the fishing was great. The catching was not bad. Not really that bad. There was some good. Your house had a couple of real nice dandy fish, Scott. Some of the guys fishing with you. The fellowship was amazing. The faith aspect was inspiring. And the food, of course. We always talk about food when we talk about men on ice and men in boats, and there's just no question about it. The food was not a disappointment.
Yeah, certainly. If you are at all interested, I'm sure you've heard us talk about men on ice and men in boats. Go to the Men in Boats Facebook page, and you will find out all the information before each event. And that way you can sign up. If it's a weekend that you're available, we would absolutely love to have you join us.
Scott, before we end this segment, I want to just throw this out here, and I'm glad you put a note in front of me with this, and I'm glad that it's included. FM Walleyes Unlimited here in the Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo community is an organization that's been around since 1977. Longstanding, very, very well-respected organization. And you and I have both served many roles within that club, on the board of directors as volunteers, through leadership roles and officers. And, we both recognize that there's a time when you have to bring in new ideas and new people and new recruits. And that time is now. And if you are interested in getting involved in a fishing organization that promotes conservation and sportsmanship and education, well, I would really, really encourage you to take a look at FM Walleyes and reach out to either one of us.
Yep.
And check it out, because there are some great opportunities, and it's an organization that's wide open for people and ideas.
Yeah, like Kyle said, reach out to either him or I, or you can just reach out to FM Walleyes, any of the above. We would love to talk to you, answer any of your questions. It's not a huge time commitment, but you would be giving back to the local community, giving back to the local youth, giving back to the sport that we all love. So,
absolutely. Just can't encourage that enough. That's a great, great idea. Hey, we got a great, great show lined up, Scott, and I'm kind of excited for this one. Kelly Blackledge from Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge. We haven't had Kelly on for a while, and there's some really cool things happening over there at Tamarac. Even now during the winter months, and I shouldn't say even now during the winter months, but they're happening during the winter months, and some good stuff she's going to tell us about. Artie Arnt from Artie's Bait and Tackle down on Big Stone Lake in Ortonville, Minnesota. He's going to join us and tell us a little bit about how the ice is doing down there on the border water, and also how the fish are doing, and give us some idea, a little report on the ice fishing there this winter, and then something special. Scott and I are going to take a segment here, segment 4, and we're going to dive just a little bit deeper into this whole topic that we started in last week, and that is the Minnesota walleye limit. It's going to be worth hanging around for. Folks, we got to take a break now, but we'll be right back with more Gone Outdoors.
Looking for somewhere to get all your fishing information in one place? Onyx Fish Midwest has something for you. Search for new fishing areas with filtering features such as species, abundance, trophy potential, lake survey info, regulations, and area insights are just a click away.
Getting to your target lake has never been easier with access points and public land ownership clearly marked on Onyx Fish. Mark and customize waypoints and weather for your exact location. Use code BA Outdoors to get 20% off Onyx Fish Midwest at onyxmaps.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You are listening to Kello News Talk, or KWSN in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or the mighty 790 in Fargo-Moorhead. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And on this segment, we're going to head out to the Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge and chat with Kelly Blackledge. How you doing, Kelly?
Great. It's a little chilly, but it is a great sunny time to be on the Refuge.
It is a little chilly, but like you said, it's always a great time to be on the Tamarac Refuge because it's always a great time to be outdoors. And that's what I think of when I think of the Tamarac Refuge is outdoors. There's a lot of people, though, I believe that probably only use it in the summertime and might not even know that you're open in the winter. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys got going on right now. Is the visitor center open in the winter as well?
That's right. So in February, on Sundays, the visitor center is open 12 to 4. And it's, anytime a great time to visit the Refuge, get into the woods out of the wind there. And, you know what? There's no bugs. So It's a great time to get outside.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that this time of the year, don't we? Like no mosquitoes, no bugs. Life is not all it's not all that bad.
That's right. That's right. Well, a lot of people use the Refuge in the wintertime to snowshoe or cross-country ski or just go hiking if there isn't a whole lot of snow in the woods. And it's a great time to breathe in those phytoncides this time of year. That's the chemical that the trees develop to protect themselves from bugs and things. It's an microbial, to protect the trees, but it gets into the air. And when you're in the woods, breathing in those phytoncides, boy, they can lower your blood pressure and are just really good for being healthy.
Wow. That's something I never knew before. And I'm not surprised that we learned that from you, because I remember we did one segment from you or with you here about a year or two ago, and you were talking about all the amazing health benefits, how much going for a walk in the outdoors boosts your immune system. And it's absolutely crazy, these little facts that you throw out, and I absolutely love it.
Well, we sure hope. Yep. Go ahead.
I was going to say, there is an advantage to using the park in the wintertime besides the fact that you can get yourself healthier, but you're going to see scenery that you will not see during the summertime.
Exactly. It is so beautiful. And that look into the woods, without the leaves there, you can see longer distances. It's a great time to see some of the mammals that don't hibernate, like our fox and wolves and coyotes and things like that. You might even see an otter, and I love watching for grouse. That's kind of fun too.
And Kelly, you have an event coming up, and it's coming up tomorrow, right? You've got something that folks can come out and participate in.
Yeah, so cross-country skiing, we have 8 miles of groomed cross-country ski trails, and on Sunday from 1 to 3, we'll have a nice little place to warm up right at the Pine Lake parking area, and you can take a short ski or a long ski if you'd like, but skiing with friends and meeting the Detroit Lakes Nordic Ski Club is what'll be happening on Sunday. There will be snacks and a little campfire, and so it's a great time to try out the trails. We have a 2-mile loop and then also a 5-mile loop, and just wonderful, wonderful trails. And even if it's your first time, these trails are pretty flat, so it's not a super hilly experience, which can be a little daunting on your first few skis. So it's just a perfect place to try out skiing and or go on a long ski and really stretch out those legs and that view. The trails are just so beautiful through the woods when you can get out of the wind and do some nice skiing. It's a great time.
So I would imagine that you get a lot of photographers going through the park in the wintertime this time of year.
We do. They're usually looking for some unique winter birds. For example, we just had evening grosbeaks at our feeders, which is a really great bird to see. If you're in the birding community, you'll actually make a trip out to the refuge to see those. Sometimes pine grosbeaks as well. There are some really neat, unique birds in the wintertime. I'm always hoping to see, of course, the great gray owl. We haven't spotted one this year. Last year we did, but it could still happen.
So that is a great segue to our next discussion. So the Great Backyard Bird Count is coming up a little bit. For those people that don't know what the Great Backyard Bird Count is, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So if you have bird feeders in your backyard, it's just such a wonderful way to help scientists keep track of the common birds, even common birds. There are some of the unique birds as well, but keep track of those migrating birds, because we have a lot of birds that migrate south to our area and are around the bird feeders. Like, you don't always see red-breasted nuthatches at your feeders, but this time of year you might. So you can get online and record the birds that you're seeing in your backyard. And it really does help keep track of winter migrations and how many and the expanse of the population that we have in the areas. So great backyard bird count.
And when you say get online and record, I'm assuming you're using the Merlin Bird ID and to do that. Is that what we're encouraging folks to do?
You could, but there is a great backyard bird count website that you can go to that is run by the Cornell Lab, where you can enter. It kind of gives you all the details you need to create a bird list for your yard, because you don't want to like double count and things like that. And it gives you a really great description of how to make those counts for your backyard. So birdcount.org will get you there.
And I believe that weekend is February 13th through the 16th. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
All right. So we got about a minute left here. I seen that you guys are hiring a biological support position. What is that for, and what does that mean?
Yeah, so a summer position that will be helping out with our water management projects, some invasive species documentation and control. We'll also have an opportunity for those folks to help with some surveys through the summer as well. So yeah, we are still looking for folks to apply for that biotech position.
And I believe they needed to be 21 years old. But boy, if you were recently graduated from college, or if you're about to graduate college, I think this would be a great position for somebody that wants to get into that type of a hobby or that kind of a career. So
that's right. There's even on-site housing. If, in Lake Country, it can be hard to find some housing, but we do have housing on the Refuge to help out.
That's perfect. All right. This is Kelly Blackledge of Tamarac National Wildlife Refuge. Kelly, thanks for coming on Gone Outdoors.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to see people on February Sundays for Snowshoe Sundays, 12 to 4.
Sounds great. All right, stick around. We'll be back with more Gone Outdoors after this short break.
Experience unrivaled power with the Ion Alpha Ice Auger. Choose from the Steel Bit Alpha or the Ultralight Alpha Plus.
Available in 1 or 2 battery configurations, the 8-inch model cuts an incredible 1,200 inches of ice on a single charge, blazing through at 3.4 inches per second. The 10-inch model drills 1,200 inches at 2.2 inches per second. It's called the Alpha for a reason.
Find yours at your local retailer or visit ioniceaugers.com. Welcome back to the second half of this morning's Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors, talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors here on Kello News Talk and KWSN in Sioux Falls and the mighty 790 KFGO in Fargo. We're excited. We get to welcome someone we've had on the program a number of different times throughout the year. Someone who is really, really well connected both in North Dakota, South Dakota, and in Minnesota. So that's not just both, that's multiples. Artie Arnt of Artie's Bait and Tackle down in Ortonville, Minnesota, Big Stone Lake. Artie, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Always a pleasure joining you guys.
It's always fun to talk. And, the Big Stone Lake, the Ortonville area is such a beautiful part of our region, and not just beautiful in the scenery, but beautiful in terms of the fisheries and the hunting and all the things it has to offer us outdoor enthusiasts. And Artie, you're a big part of that. Your bait store is a kind of a hub for people and an information source. And And as those bait stores oftentimes are, it's where people go to get their information as well as their gear and their bait. You guys have had quite an up and down winter. Tell us a little bit about kind of the trek we've taken here since ice up.
It's funny when you talk about since ice up, and the Farmer's Almanac is always telling us what the winter's going to be, and I used to put a little stock into that, and it's never right. we never know what winter's going to be, and then when it gets cold, we think, oh, here we go, and then here comes the warm again. So yeah, we've had some fluctuating weather here, some fluctuating ice conditions. I grew up on the lake, and I saw something out here. Oh, was it January 17th, about the middle of January, that I've never seen before on Big Stone. We had no snow, and we had a couple warm days, and then we had those 50-mile-an-hour winds behind it. And man, that did, what it did was ice melted and pooled on top of the ice, and the wind got a hold of that water and whipped some holes out in the lake. Honestly, those holes were made in probably less than half a day. And that was really kind of scary for us. We've never seen them happen that fast, and I'm guessing there was probably 50 plus of them on the lake, the size of, I'm going to say, like a pickup or a fish house, or even a little bit bigger. And so yeah, that was pretty scary, but that was over 2 weeks ago, and we've had sub-zero temps almost steady since. And those areas, we go out and drill on them to see what they're at, and we're seeing a foot plus on all those areas even. Most of the lake is sitting around that 17, 18, 19 inches, so we're looking real good. We had a ton of vehicle traffic and big houses out over the weekend, and I feel like we're getting back to normal a little bit.
All right, Artie, I don't want to beat up the ice conditions too bad because we do want to talk fishing reports here, but I got one quick question for you. On that creating of those holes, was that because there was very little snow on the lake? I mean, if there was snow cover over the whole lake, I'm guessing that would not have happened.
I think you're correct, and that's why we've never really seen it like that before. So what happened was, it was only like, upper 40-degree day. We had very, very little water on the ice until the end of the day. And what happened was that water all pooled down into the low spots, maybe where a fish house had been sitting or snowdrift was, and it made all those little pools. And the wind got a hold of it and swirled that water and eroded out those spots where I think normally if we had snow, it doesn't get that erosion, doesn't get a chance to get swirling like it would if we had snow cover. So yeah, the whole set of circumstances was pretty strange when that all happened.
Well, Artie, thank you. We were watching from afar up here in, from our houses, and we could see your updates periodically telling people to stay off the trouble areas. And you were warning folks as well as maneuvering your own rental houses too, I know. And kudos to you and thank you for doing that. That's a great service for folks. And like we said before we went on the air, it's not always just giving people fun information. Sometimes it's doing the things that are going to save them, potentially save their lives. So definitely appreciated. Hey, let's shift gears. Let's talk fishing here. The fun stuff. Mm-hmm. What's the bite been lately there on Big Stone?
Yeah, it's funny how the bite changes out here over the years. The story this winter has been quality, not maybe so much quantity. It's not a fill your pail bite right now, but I mean, the size of the bluegills that we're getting, 10, 11 inch bluegills. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, if you want a bluegill to put on the wall, I mean, they're getting them right now. Even the perch we got, our numbers on perch are obviously down a little bit, but the quality of the perch has been really good. A lot of 10, 11, even fair amount 12-inch perch out here, and when our numbers were higher, the size was obviously down a little bit. So seeing some quality on the perch. Maybe the biggest story has been our walleyes. Again, I grew up on the lake, and in 40 years of being here, I have never seen so many walleyes on this lake between 25 and 30 inches. It's becoming a regular occurrence for somebody to catch one or two of those, per outing. A lot of people there too, getting their personal best fish, making for good stories, good memories, and so on. And also the pike bit really good here the last week or so, and some dandy pike. And the sturgeon is something that's been unique here. That's certainly been a big entertainer this winter as well. We just had a 56-inch sturgeon caught over the weekend by a young teenager in town, so that was pretty exciting. So these sturgeon are getting big enough now. The guys are all saying on these big ones that they barely fit through the hole. I had a guy this weekend that even had a 10-inch hole, could barely get it through it. So the story's been quality, not so much quantity, but quality. So.
And when you talk quality, man, those are all quality fish, very much so for anybody. So, Artie, you talk to a lot of people, a lot of different people that come to the lake, different groups. What is the most target or the most popular target? Are a lot of them coming just for gills, or are they coming for walleyes, or is it just a mixed bag of everything, or do some just go there to go fishing and see what they catch?
It's really a mix of everything. I mean, from 2010 till, last couple of years, everybody knew this lake as a perch lake in the wintertime. And that's obviously where a lot of people learned about Big Stone was coming for the perch bite. But, everybody that comes on a regular basis seen that kind of transition the last couple of years to where now we're starting to see a lot more of the bluegills. We're seeing a fair amount of crappies, still getting some perch and some of these other things popping in. So really evolved into a mixed bag. It's a great family lake. And again, catching fish that are big enough to make memories. And, even the sturgeon. I talked to some guys this weekend. They were out here specifically sturgeon fishing, just for the fun and novelty of that as well. So, it kind of depends what your heart's set on. But if you're looking for a trophy fish, they're out there.
Well, Artie, our listeners, if they're thinking about making a trip to the Big Stone area in Ortonville, they're going to need a place to stay. They're going to need some bait and tackle, and they may even need an ice house. Tell us how you can help them out with that.
We're happy to help with all your needs there. We also own the hotel in town. Previously was Econo Lodge in Ortonville, as most of you guys remember. And January 1st, we rebranded our hotel. We're now Park Inn by Radisson, and that was part of the improvements that we did up there. So it's actually an award-winning hotel. We serve a free hot breakfast, very affordable rates, starting at about $105 a night to stay. And then the bait shop here in town, when if you're new to the area, come in here, we'll get you your bait and tackle. And always part of our service is we have lake maps on the counter, and we'll show you where the good accesses are and kind of point you the right direction to some of the good fishing areas. And if you want us to help one step further, we got fish house rentals. We run 16 ice castles that are all 8x16. You can use them as a sleeper or as a day house, and we rent those out as well.
I love it. Full service. Whatever route you want to take, whatever options you want that you may not have with you, you've got it there, Artie, and that's pretty cool because it's a great destination there right along the Minnesota-South Dakota border and some incredible fishing. We really appreciate you joining us this morning, Artie, and taking some time sharing us a little bit of information about the lake and the bite and your amenities there. Thank you for that.
Hey, always been fun joining you guys. And again, we love hosting people and helping people. Come on down, make some memories, and we'll be glad to help you out the best we can.
Folks, look him up. Artie's Bait and Tackle. That's where you'll find him, Ortonville, Minnesota. And don't go away, folks. We're not done yet. We do have to take a break right now, but we'll be back with more Gone Outdoors.
The all-new Eskimo Outbreak XDP shelter gives you the same great fishable space as the original Outbreak, but packs down up to a foot shorter for easier transport.
Available in multiple sizes, the XDP features dual heat ports, giant windows, and an oversized carry bag. Whether you're camping for the weekend or fishing for the afternoon, the Outbreak XDP has everything you need for an enjoyable time on the ice.
Check out the all-new Outbreak XDP at geteskimo.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN in South Dakota or the Mighty 790 in Fargo, Moorhead, and surrounding community. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And on this segment, we're going to have Scotty Brewer and Kyle Agre.
I love it.
Yeah, we are going to talk about something. So a week ago, we had Ron Shera on to talk about Minfish and their thoughts on the proposed 4-fish walleye limit. And Kyle said, we need to just do one segment, just the two of us, so that we can give our input, because we're always asking everybody what their input is. So let's give our input, our thoughts on this. So for those that don't know, Minnesota is proposing a 4 walleye limit coming up here in the next couple of years instead of the current 6. Both of those have 1/20. Currently, you can have 1/20, and the proposal is 1/20 inches. The current rule has been there since 1956, which is 70 years. That's a long time.
I would comment that it has been 70 years, and it's worked quite well for 70 years.
It has. If approved, this new 4-fish limit would potentially go into effect spring of 27. So this will not happen in 26, just so everybody knows. It's not going to happen for this coming season. This coming season's regulations are already done. So this is potentially for 27. Now, the Minnesota DNR is calling this a proactive change, which I think is really kind of one of the issues why some people are not necessarily against it, but why they're questioning it. Would that be fair, Kyle?
Well, yeah. And I mean, the one thing I want to set the stage of is both you and I, Scott, have an extremely high level of respect for all of the folks at the Minnesota DNR. And this isn't meant to be in any way an attack or criticism of anybody or any type of policy, but they in their process are opening it up to public input. And since we're part of the public, I think it's fair that we share what our perspective is here. And that's why I think this is just great. So yeah, I would definitely agree.
And we will throw out the website and the phone number for people because they are looking for public input. And here at the end of the segment, we will tell you how you can do that. And we actually hope that you do. We're trying to get as many people to give their opinion straight to the DNR so that they can make the decisions that they want. All right. In a 2025 survey, this was done last summer, 61% approve of a 4-fish limit. And how that was worded was, would you be in favor of a 4-fish limit? 61% said yes. Then another question was, would you like it to stay at 6? 31% said yes, they would prefer if it stayed at 6. The question I have for you, Kyle, does that matter what the people want?
Of course, public input is important because that's why they're asking for it. It's part of their process. I guess the question that I have is, should decisions on wildlife management be based on popularity, or should they be based on scientific fact and research and based on that for the decision? And to me, I lean towards the scientific facts and the decisions that need to be made. We appoint leaders within the DNR. We hire experts, biologists, and people who have made a dedicated career to study fisheries and to be the experts. And I put a lot of credibility and stock into what they are saying. And their research right now is saying that most people don't even catch 4 fish, let alone 6. And so a reduction from 4 to 6 would have zero impact or very negligible impact, not statistically significant, on the fisheries in the state of Minnesota. So that raises questions with me. I do say with a survey, you have to look at what a survey is, right? And I think in our political world, we see people governing by surveys all the time. They change with the wind. They go a different direction here and a different direction there. And surveys reflect, they reflect perception, not necessarily fact. And so if you would have worded that different and said a reduction from 6 to 4 will have zero statistical impact on the fishery, would you want to reduce it to 4? And people may answer it different. So while I feel people's opinions are important, I put more stock into the experts.
Yep. And I get that point 100%. I feel that the DNR is aware of all this. And I think the DNR, some of the DNR people that I've talked to know that they're kind of like a turtle in a race. They can only move so fast because if they start to see a problem, if they're going to prove that there's a problem, it's going to take 5 to 7 years in different studies and this and that, because it takes so long to get the ball rolling and get all that done. And I think they know that by that time, there might be a bigger issue than what they can react to.
The question is might.
Correct.
And how do we know that there's going to be a bigger issue? And to me, that's a sense of fear, a sense of we don't know, but maybe we should do it just in case. And do we eliminate deer hunting because there's the possibility of CWD? Well,
Yeah.
if you're going to follow the same logic, maybe, and I'm throwing that out as an example, but to me, I think decisions have to be made on sound scientific facts and justification. And when they are, I'm 100% behind what the DNR wants to do. But I do have questions about whether this is the right motivation at this time. And one of the other things that I think is important in this equation is the fact that for many, many years, the DNR has had the ability to look at an individual fishery and a body of water and adjust limits and slots and regulations to address problem issues. And so that tool is there and it's in place for the DNR to use rather than having to put a blanket change on the entire state of Minnesota. And so to me, that seems like that's a more effective tool, is to address it by each fishery, much like you'd address a zone within the state and the herd when we're setting limits and regulations on deer hunting.
Yep. And I would agree with that. But I also know that the DNR has monetary issues, budgeting issues. And for them to try and survey and make those regulations for each lake is not possible. They just absolutely can't do it. So I'm thinking that, and maybe that's some of what Ron Scherer was talking about last time. How do we get them the money to be able to do this stuff?
Do we want it done right, or do we want
Correct.
it done haphazardly and just scraping the surface?
Correct. And that's where I really like Ron's discussion last week. So if you didn't hear that, you can go to the podcast and you can listen to that at kfgo.com. And I highly recommend it because Ron made some very, very good points.
Points that I had not ever thought of before, to be 100% honest with you.
Correct. All right. So we could talk about this for another 20 minutes, but we're out of time. So I need to throw this out there. If you want to get your input in, you need to email by March 5th your comments to fisheries.rulemaking.comments.dnr@state.mnus. Say that one more time. fisheries.rulemaking.comments.dnr@state.mn.us. Or you can call this number, and I'm assuming this is just during business hours, 651-259-5235. 651-259-5235, and you can talk there. Give your input and make your voice heard on the 4 walleye proposed limit in Minnesota. All right. Special thanks to our Gone Outdoors show sponsors, Ray Sport Marine, Adventure RV, Devil's Lake Tourism, Legacy Truck Gear, Strand Ace Hardware, Onyx Fish Midwest. Thank you for tuning in to today's Gone Outdoors. Follow along when you're on the ice or in the field with Gone Outdoor Podcasts at kfgo.com, kwsm.com, KELO.com, Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify. Visit us at breweragreoutdoors.com anytime and follow us on social media. Until next week, from Scotty and Kyle, we will be gone outdoors.